Yo, what's good, party people? I haven't done a video in a minute, certainly as it pertains to boxing, but the latest Canelo shenanigans have compelled me to, I mean, look, man, I like Canelo Alvarez. I think Canelo Alvarez has great punch selection and variety, good timing, good hand speed, good defense, head movement, upper body movement. I like watching Canelo fight. I do. I enjoy watching him fight. Canelo the fighter, I like. Canelo the business, I can't stand. For a good minute now, I've been calling for Canelo to fight Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, Jamel Charlo, and David Benavidez. Those are the 4 fights that I really want from him. I mean, I think that those are guys that are at or right around his weight class that would make for compelling television and interesting matchups. And he just finally, he fought one of those guys in Caleb Plant. That fight went down exactly as I thought that it would. I've said well before that fight even got made, my concern for Caleb Plant was his durability. I was worried about him, his ability to absorb the punishment that Canelo would dish out. I was also worried about him suffering a hand injury during the course of the fight, because he's had those. I mean, that's happened a couple of times. So I was concerned about that. I did think he would have success stylistically early on in the second half of the fight, that he would begin to fade, he'd begin to wilter. So that's what happened. You know, he stopped him in the 11th. Kudos to Canelo, unifying the belts, becoming undisputed. Cool, that's good. So now you have momentum. A lot of people bought that pay-per-view. You're working with the PBC. They did a great job of making sure that people knew that the fight was taking place. Something cannot really be said for Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter, which is this Saturday, which is sad because that's a magnificent fight. That's a fight I've wanted for a long time as well. So you come with the momentum of doing something historic, and then instead of run with that momentum and keep the ball rolling, we're going to move up to Cruiserweight to fight a guy that literally, as the British say, literally, no one, I don't think a single person on earth asked for that fight. Nobody knows who that Bama is. No one wanted to see it. I think this really illustrates the intentions of Team Alvarez and the WBC. Like, this fight literally doesn't do a blessed thing for anybody except line the pockets of the people that I just said. Like, it's ridiculous. This is a monumental waste of time, money, energy, and resources to create this fight that nobody, and I mean nobody, asked for. Not one boxing fan in the world was like, yo,
in a quarter of a mile, continue straight.
Yo, I gotta see that Canelo versus whoever the hell that is. Nobody knows who that. No one wants this. Okay, look, one of the big knocks on
continue straight.
One of the big knocks on the careers of greats like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones is their opposition. That's when you encounter a detractor or a critic of either one of those fighters, the knock is who they fought. Now, you really have to, a lot of this comes with who was available, what talents were in those divisions at that time, what rivals, etc., right? So, like, if there's no one of note there are no popular, formidable fighters for a popular talent to fight, they have to fight who's available, right? Canelo has the opportunity to be great. Look, honestly, and I'm not making any formal pick. I really like to watch the way the camps go and all of the circumstances leading up to a fight before I actually...
In 800 feet, turn left.
Before I pick...
Turn left.
Who would win and who would do whatever, right? And so as it pertains to like a Jamal Charlo or a David Benavidez, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say who I think would do what pertaining to those fights. Those fights aren't signed. It's a waste of time and energy anyway. But people want to see those. Can you imagine placing either Benavidez or Jamal Charlo versus Canelo at Dallas Stadium in Texas? Charlo's from Texas. I'm not sure where Benavidez is from, to be perfectly honest. I don't think it's Texas. But regardless, the amount of the Mexican population, the Latino population, and Charlo being from Texas, those would be massive events, huge TV-friendly fights, which Canelo would probably be favored to win both of them. He might just do it. He certainly has the talent and the ability to do it. So, like, why would you waste everyone's time? Why would you waste our time with some no-name, ridiculous fight? I mean, just for a... It'll be like, just for a title? It's fifth division. Man, dog, no one cares. You make yourself a legend through legendary fights. You make yourself a legend by fighting the best people available. And right now, listen to me. I don't care what you say. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of the sport of boxing and you endorse this fight, you're not a fan of boxing. This doesn't do anything to advance the sport at all. If Canelo's supposed to be the face of the sport, then you're saying we're taking the most popular, the most beloved, the most known fighter and wasting his goddamn time. You're wasting our time. I'm not going to watch this. Listen, man, I have been buying pay-per-views forever. I'm 46 years old, man. I've been watching boxing since the 80s when Wild World of Sports, when Sugar Ray Leonard was still fighting, when I started watching boxing, right? I certainly have been buying pay-per-views since the advent of pay-per-views. I even used to buy them terrible-ass Cedric Kushner heavyweight explosion cards. So I'm down to pay money. I support the sport. I literally still get the physical Ring magazines delivered to my house. I support the sport. I'm not one of these dudes that likes to stream shit for free and then claim to be a supporter of the sport and a fan of the sport. I spend my hard-earned on boxing. I refuse. I utterly refuse. If this fight actually gets made, I will not buy it. I will not watch it. I will not watch it for free. It's like, I do not like green eggs and ham. I will not watch it on a boat. I will not watch this fight. I don't give a damn about it. It's a waste of time. And honestly, it's a spit in the face of people that support this sport and support a guy like Canelo, because these are the moves you make. This is precisely why he receives the criticism that he receives. And there are people who are fans of fighters not fighting. They are fans of boxers not boxing. It's like back in the day when I used to watch wrestling, WWE, it was WWF at the time, it's WWE now. You would go to, like, my homeboy Rick, one of his birthday parties when we were kids, we went to go watch an event, a wrestling event, and you would get like your name boxers. It'd be like Coco Beware versus Barry O. You know what I mean? Like a dude that we know is not going to win. We come just to see Coco Beware do his thing against some schlub, right? Some Bama. That's what this is. And I'm not paying close to $100 for pay-per-view and having people over and copping the wings and all that for some dumb, ridiculous waste of time like this. It just really speaks to the guy that Canelo is. My bad. It's a big ass spider in here, yo. It's a big ass spider in my car. It's a waste of time. When you have legitimate fighters, legitimate competition that you could be facing and very well could beat, that is how you become a legend in the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, weight classes don't matter when you're doing stuff like this. There is available talent, man. There's good fighters, quality fighters that he very well could beat. I think Andrade gives him problems. I think Charlo gives him problems. I think Benavidez gives him problems. But Canelo could very well beat both of those guys. I mean, all three of those guys. He could do it. It's possible. But you got to be able to put yourself out there. Look, we talk a lot of stuff about, God damn, dude. We talk a lot of shit about a guy like Oscar De La Hoya. But the stuff that gets talked about Oscar is not inside the ring. It's outside the ring. You know, choices with abusive lifestyles and you know, other stuff I'm not even going to get into. But it's neither here nor there. Oscar took on the best. Dog, he's got a who's who. Oscar probably got 6-7 fighters that were at least one point in their careers number one pound for pound in the sport. He fought Pernell Whitaker. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He fought Chavez. He fought Tito Trinidad. He fought Bernard Hopkins. He fought Shane Mosley. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you do it. You, again, win, lose, or draw with Oscar. Oscar got in the ring with those dudes. Canelo is wasting our time, man. And I don't give a damn ethnicity. I'm not even going to say race, because race is not real. Race is a social construct. There is ethnicity and there is nationality. Race is not a real thing. But I do find it ironic and you know.
In 1,000 feet, turn left.
And not in a funny way, that a lot of Latino, Hispanic, certainly Mexican folks that say they are fans of the sport of boxing, you know, it's all la raza and all that. Listen, man, the racism that goes on between black and brown people is ridiculous, especially when you want to cuss me out in your colonizer's language. That's not even, Spanish is not even your natural language.
Then turn left.
Man, this GPS gets on my nerves. It's not even your natural language. Black and brown people have so much in common. It's ridiculous that we find ourselves.
Then your destination will be on the right.
Beefing. It just makes no sense. It really makes no sense at all. But getting back on track with this, man. If you're supporting Canelo simply because he is Mexican, you're not a fan of boxing. You're a fan of perhaps your country, your ethnicity, and that particular fighter. You're not a fan of the sport. Nothing about a fight like this, the one that's being proposed, does anything for the advancement of boxing. Look, you don't know shit about boxing. I just happen to have a hat on today. I just happen to be compelled to make a video today because I can't even wrap my head around. I mean, I get it. I understand what they're doing. You're milking the scenario. But in life, there are pros and cons to every decision and move made, right? So, yeah, you're going to make some bread. You're going to have some some accolades to put under your belt, but it's hollow. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? It's superficial. What is it really worth? This spider is creeping, dog. He's too big to like let live. You gotta go, yo. You gotta go, dog. You're too big. Yo, this joint is. You shouldn't be in my car right now. But like, look, it just. Again, it's a spit in the face, man. Like, it's a waste of time, energy. We're taking the prime years of Canelo's career and wasting it. I am a fan of Canelo. I like watching him. But we're wasting opportunities here for legendary fights, for great nights of boxing, and to advance the sport, to show people why this is the best sport on earth. And it is. It is. And we're wasting it. And I feel like if you support this and you buy this, you are paving the way for more trash like this. You're letting the WBC know they can do whatever they want. I mean, they're already so blatant, you know, with the Oscar Valdez nonsense. Like, so you strip David Benavidez for out of competition recreational use. And then you don't even punish Oscar Valdez for PD use in competition. You don't punish the guy. You don't strip the guy. You let the guy fight. And then when he loses, he doesn't lose. Yo, the WBC, which was at one point, and maybe still, the most coveted title in boxing, they are swiftly pissing in the wind and besmirching their own reputation. Like, it is lessening the value of that belt and holding that title by doing the stuff that they're doing. It's whack, man. It sucks. Like, it cheapens everything. And what Canelo is doing is cheapening himself. I'm sorry, yo. It is what it is. I'm not hating. I'm not one of these dudes that... I don't just root for the American fighter because they're American. I don't just root for the black fighter because they're black. I root for the fighters that I like to see the way that they... Listen, man, I've been a martial artist my whole life. Started at 9, like in 84 I started. I've done some boxing, I've done some Muay Thai. I like fighters and fighting. And the sport of boxing is the most compelling, most intriguing sport on earth, in my personal opinion, right? So I really can't stand when we take the honor out of these things and we cheapen it and lessen it. It's not cool, man. Like, a dude like Canelo has a legitimate opportunity. Like, if he fought the guys that I said before, you've already fought Caleb Plant. That's one of the ones that I wanted. Benavidez is here. And as a matter of fact, it would be smarter to get on Benavidez right now when the guy is young and less experienced. He's still a little raw. The defense needs work. But he's a big, strong, hard-punching, combination-punching fighter. And it would make great television. And Canelo is seasoned to the place where he could probably win that. And he would receive all praise for doing so in a TV-friendly, compelling fight. Same thing with Jamal Charlo. Like, that's going to be a good fight. Stylistically, those fights can't miss. You know, I understand some people's position or argument about Demetrius Andrade. You still have to fight. You don't pick and choose when it comes to, I don't like his style. He said, well, dog, Canelo said in the lead up to the Caleb Plant fight that he's fought all styles. So then what's the problem, bro? I don't know that anybody's ever confused Erislandy Lara for being Arturo Gatti in terms of, you know, TV-friendly, exciting fights. But you fought him, right? right? I don't know what the criteria was for Yildirim, but you fought him. Was anybody knocking down the doors for Liam Smith or Caleb Smith? I don't know too many of those folks clamoring for those events, but you did it. Bruh, Canelo, you have an opportunity here. You have a chance to further your own personal legacy and really make some noise for the decade, for eternity as far as boxing is concerned. You're already rich, bruh. You already got bread. So what is the problem? You got the money now. Get the legacy now. Not hollow titles, man. People don't care about that anywhere near as much as they care about watching good fights, man. When people talk about the trilogy between Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, no one's talking about no titles. We weren't even tripping that there was a 10-round fights. No one cares. They were bomb-ass fight. They're fights that were thrilling and entertaining, and that's what makes fans. My homeboy, Rick, I'm bringing you up twice here, but my buddy Rick's sister became a boxing fan because of the Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti trilogy. That's how you bring people to this sport. Show them that theater of the unexpected. Show them the drama and the ebbs and flows and the spirited competition, the will and desire to win through adversity. That is what brings people to this sport. And it gets you coming back like you're chasing the dragon like a drug addict, wanting that first high. Because when you see a fight that is just out of this world, you know, Chico Corrales, God bless the dead, versus oh my God, what's my man's name? I can see him in Corrales versus Castillo. That changes. I mean, every time a boxing match is signed and ready to be delivered, you're hoping you get an experience like that. You know, you never forget compelling events, man. Like I remember just one of them, a zillion of them, but watching James Toney fight Jirov. And man, the last leg of the last round, I'm screaming my head off. I'm out my seat. That kind of stuff, man, doesn't come along every day. And Canelo has the opportunity to perhaps find himself in those kinds of fights and being the victor in those kinds of fights. What he's doing now is self-serving. It has nothing to do with you. And I don't care if you're the most ardent and go-hard Canelo fan. He doesn't care about you if he's making these fights. He knows goddamn well you don't want to see that. He knows you don't want to see that. And he doesn't give a damn. He went on a stretch of fights that he knows you don't care about. So again, if all you care about is seeing this dude win, Canelo should fight me. Shit, I need to pay that. I got a mortgage, kids. You know what I'm saying? Fight me then. If you're going to fight an absolute no-name that no one knows and no one cares about, no one was asking for, cut me a check, bro. I'm cheap. I'm cheap. You can get me in there for, hey, man, can I get a cool meal after taxes? You'll change my life, bro. If that's what we're doing. If we're just making meaningless fights. You're like, oh, you don't have a title. Man, this title doesn't mean nothing. This doesn't mean anything, is my point. And I've already said, the titles are less important than the fights themselves. And this guy has a responsibility and an obligation to not only the fans, but the sport of boxing itself by being what he's being labeled as, the face of the sport. So you have an opportunity to advance the sport and move the sport forward, bring it back to prominence. But being selfish and being, you know, this is cherry picking and selective. I mean, look, every fighter in history has had a matchmaker. You know what I'm saying? Ali had matchmakers. Tyson had matchmakers. Raylan had, everybody had matchmakers. But it wasn't this blatant nonsense, man. It wasn't this in-your-face, bona fide just opponents that we know we're coming to just see the Canelo show, and we don't care who's in there as long as Canelo gets his arm raised. And that's being a fan of a fighter and not fighting. That's being a fan of a boxer and not boxing. I love the sport more than I love any particular participant, past, present, or future. A lot of you guys online are young and you're new to the sport. I can tell by the way that you talk. And I know this because I was young at a point and I used to fall in love with fighters too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I loved Mike Tyson. I loved Roy Jones. I stopped falling in love with fighters because the longer you watch this sport, the more that you realize that you're going to see the beginning, the crescendo, and the end of fighters' careers. So you see all the things that happen, and at the end of the day, what you're going to have left is the fights they gave you. Whether you're YouTubing them or you're recording them or whatever, like, you're going to have what they left you. After they're gone, their greatest hits. And you really don't want to be remembered fighting Yildirim's and stuff, man. Yo, that's not, no one cares about that. So anyway, it's a long video, got long-winded, spiders and traffic and whatever, but I had to at least get this off my chest because it's ridiculous and it's sad, and I am absolutely, if this fight gets made, I'm not watching it. I'm not buying it, and I'm not watching it. Not even on YouTube. I don't care. Like, that's how much I don't care. Hopefully, you will follow suit and just be a little bit more demanding as a consumer. Yo, we spend the better part of $100 on pay-per-views. You know what I mean? We go to Vegas, we go to Atlantic City, we go to these venues, and we support these fighters and these fights and these promotional outfits and these sanctioning bodies with our hard-earned. And this is not worth it. All right? That's me. Y'all have a good one, yo.